So I apologize. I forgot to take a video for the first question. So I'm just going to talk you through this first question. So back in grade 9, we learned how to solve equations, right? So you'd have something like, you'd have an equation that might look like this. 3x minus 1 equals 7. Okay, and then we said, okay, well, keep the 3x on one side of the equal sign, bring the negative 1 to the other side, and it becomes positive 1. Okay, so what does that leave us with? Well, we have 3x equals 8. And then how do we find x? Well, we divide both sides by 3. And so we end up with x equals 8 over 3, right? 8/3. And so what is this? Well, that's called the solution. It's the solution to this equation. It's what makes this equation equal. And so when you have a linear equation, you only have one possible solution, one value of x that makes both sides equal. Now, all we're doing now is solving quadratic equations. So a quadratic equation happens when the highest exponent of x is a squared, right? So in the first example, we've got x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. That means that the degree of this trinomial is 2. That's the highest exponent on any variable. In order to solve this equation, the first step is to factor it. And the coefficient of x squared is 1, and that makes it a simple trinomial. This trinomial is a simple one. And so I can factor it quickly using the simple trinomial factoring that we looked at in class. So you could have done the chart and found out that the two numbers that multiply to negative 3 and add up to positive 2 are positive 3 and negative 1. And so instead of decomposing and grouping, we can simply take those two numbers and add them to each binomial to create the factors. So the beautiful thing is that a simple trinomial can be factored in one line. Now, before we move to the next step, I want to talk about the ZPP, the zero product property. Folks, what is 8 times 0? 0. What is a times 0? 0. What is Miss Sly times 0? 0. So anything times 0 equals to 0. So if you're multiplying two factors to make the equation equal to 0, one of the factors has to be 0. So this is what the zero product property says. Okay, so let's go back. Now that we have factored this trinomial into two factors, what the zero product property says is that if this factor equals to 0, the entire equation equals 0. So how do I make x plus 3 equal 0? Bring the 3 to the other side. Well, x must equal to negative 3. That means that when x is negative 3, that will make this entire solution equal to 0. There's another one. How about this factor? X minus 1 equals to 0 when x equals positive 1. And so we have two possible values of x that will make this equation equal to 0. That will satisfy this equation. And so in this case, instead of saying x equals negative 3 and x equals 1, we can just use a comma and we can say, therefore, x equals negative 3, comma 1. There are two solutions that we found. Okay. Now what I did here is I checked it. I'm like, okay, if x equals positive 1, so I've substituted 1 for every x, right? So I'd have 1 plus 3, that's a 4. 1 minus 1, that's 0. What's 4 times 0? Hey, 0. Well, what if x is negative 3? So I sub in negative 3 wherever there's an x, and now I have 0 times negative 4, still 0. Okay? And so that is, again, alluding or referring back to the zero product property. Question example 2. Solve this quadratic equation. How do I know that it's a quadratic? How do I know that it's an equation? Great. Okay, what's the first step I do in order to solve it? The F word. I need to factor. Once I factor, I can use the ZPP, the zero product property. Okay, can I do simple trinomial factoring here? No. All right, so let's make the RS chart. And what do I write here? Is it negative 24? Okay, so I go 6 times negative 4, negative 24. And in the R, I put a 1. And so I'm going to make a list of all the ways I get negative 24. Oh, wait. Is there a way that you do this chart? Oh, like I divide the 24 by 2? So I go 12 and 2, and then negative 6 and 4. Pardon? Yeah, I keep dividing by 2, and then I go negative 3. Oh, you do 1, 2, 3, 4 and see. Got it. Okay. Yeah, so 2 works. So then 3 works. 4 works. But then I have to do minus 2, 12, minus 3, 4, minus 4, 6. Like that kind of thing. All right. So which one, when I add them up, will give me minus 5? Yeah, 3 times 4 is not 24. Thank you. 3 times 8 is 24. Which one, when I add them up, gives me negative 5? No, it's not negative 3 and 8 because they have to. Yeah. All right. And so now that I've tabled, now I decompose and group. So the negative 5 is broken up into 3x and minus 8x. Okay, and now I'll group. Right, so I really encourage you, because you just had this test, to group this on your own. Okay, what's the common factor of the first two? Oh yeah, it's 3x. I get 2x plus 1. What's the common factor of the next one? Negative 4. X, 2x plus 1. 2x plus 1. 3x minus 4. Does it matter if you swapped the order of the brackets? No, because we're multiplying. Alex, move your desk over 2 feet in that direction. And so, now that my equation is factored, I can use the ZPP. 2 feet. That's 1. Keep going. I'm going to use the zero product property, right, ZPP. And I'm going to say, okay, each of these factors has to equal to 0. So let's see. The first one, 2x plus 1. What will make 2x plus 1 equal to 0? Okay, so bring the 1 to the other side. It becomes negative 1. Divide both sides by 2. And so I get an x value of negative a half. Miss Sly, can I write negative 0.5?
Yeah.
No. Miss Sly says no. Keep it as a fraction. Even if it works out nicely, keep it as a fraction. The second factor, 3x minus 4, what's going to make that equal to 0? Bring the 4 to the other side. Some of you are able to do this straight up in your head. Great. Divide by 3. X equals 4 over 3. Let's do a critical thinking check. Does it make sense that we have two solutions? Yeah, it does. Therefore, now we don't have to write the two solutions. We can just write this. X equals negative a half and 4/3. You do not have to write them in order. You can just list them off like that. Quadratics will have two solutions. Okay, we're going to do two more examples, and really we're just factoring in different ways. We're solving quadratic equations, and today, the only tool we're using is factoring. Tomorrow, I teach you another tool called the quadratic formula. So let's look at example 3. Do you know what's missing here? Look at the example, 2t squared plus 7t.
The answer.
Like the equation part. What should it say? It should say equals 0, because otherwise it's not an equation. It's a typo. It's a typo. It's overlooked, right? Like, how can I solve an equation if it's not an equation? Okay, so the only thing that's missing in this case is the last number, the c, like the constant. And so I'm not factoring a trinomial. It's not a trinomial. How do I factor this? GCF? There is one. What is it? It's just a t. So I can factor out the t. So when I divide them, I get 2t plus 7. Anyone want me to show how I got that? Okay. Is it factored? Can I use the ZPP? Yep. I can use the zero product property because I have something times something. So let's look at the first factor. The first factor is a t. What does t have to equal to make it work? Oh, cool. Yeah, so if I factor out the variable, it has to be 0. The other factor, 2t plus 7 equals 0. I'm going to encourage some students who like to do math in their head, try to figure this out in your head. Don't write it all out. Just say t equals. Bring the 7 to the other side. Divide by 2. T equals negative 7 over 2. Do I have two solutions? I've got a 0 and a negative 7 over 2, not 3.5. And so I'll say, great. Therefore, t equals 0 and negative 7 over 2. Yeah. So let's do a quick check. When I say solve, what are you doing? What are you looking for? Don't tell me, talk to the person next to you. When I say solve, what are you supposed to do? What is it, guys?
We're trying to find the value of the variable.
When I say solve,
I did 3.5 now, so
now,
I messed up.
which means
It's a gun. Okay. All factors are not used equal 0.
use normal words. Variable. Find x, find t. Great, find the solution. Great, time. All right. So with my partner, we talked about finding the value of the variable. Here's what's another way of, so one description of what solve means is find the value of the variable. What's another description of what solve means? Find x. What's another way? Find the solutions. Thank you. Good. Good. And yet another way, find the roots. Okay, have you heard the word roots in class? What are roots? The zeros, the x-intercepts, the roots, the solutions. Yep. All right, let's try another one. So in this example, when I have an equation that says 3s squared minus 54, there's a missing term. It's the s term. It's the middle term, right? There's no something s. Okay, no sweat. How do I solve this? Today, we're factoring, and we are GCFing. What is the greatest common factor in this case? It's just 3. Now, I forget what 54 divided by 3 is, so I will, okay, I'm joking. So I will do long division. Do you remember that beautiful thing called long division? Oh, forget calculator. Okay, folks, watch this. How many times does 3 go into 5? 1 time. 1 times 3 equals 3. What's 5 minus 3? 2. Bring down the 4. Now, how many times does 3 go into 24? 8 times. 8 times 3 is 24. Subtract, what's the remainder? 0. So how many times does 3 go into 54? 18.
I don't know.
So now watch this. Watch this. It's factored. Can the 3 be equal to 0? No. So there's only one solution. Or is there? Watch this. S squared minus 18 equals 0. S squared, bring the 18 to the other side, is positive 18. What do I do to both sides? Take the square root. And what did we just learn? When I take the square root of a variable, what do I write in front of the number? Plus, minus, positive, negative, right? So what is the square root of s squared? Well, it's positive negative 18. And is 18 a perfect square? No, right? I can't take the square root of 18. It's not a whole number. So what that means is that s could be root positive 18 and negative root 18. You could be lazy like me and say positive negative 18.
And you can just, if there's no square root,
We just leave it like that. Yeah. Folks, we're not going to do the next question. Yeah. It's just because there's no variable. Can I ever make 3 into a 0? I can't. Yeah. Yeah. So, folks, do you know which questions you're doing?
Yeah.
There are some word problems there that we haven't touched. Feel free to try one. Be creative. Okay? And then we'll look at that tomorrow.
Actually petrified. My drum is